Happy New Year, everyone. So today is January 5th, and statistically speaking, many of you are finished with your New Year's resolutions. I forgot the exact numbers, but it's an amazing number of people who fail their New Year's resolutions. I think 80%. And usually I think the number is until February, but people are starting to drop out already, forget about the resolutions that they set. Some people are just quietly thinking, maybe not this year. Maybe we'll wait till next year. And if that's you, I want you to hear this. It is not because you're weak. It's not because you lack willpower. There is nothing wrong with you. Well, maybe there is, but not in this regard. All right. People always make these things about character when very often they're just a matter of structure. It's not a moral issue. And the reasons resolutions fail is remarkably consistent. And I see it every single year. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So that's what we're going to take a look at this year. And most people, they treat resolutions like, if only that they were a good enough person, or if only they tried harder. And this year, they're going to try really hard, as if it's a matter of effort. But change doesn't fail for moral reasons. Change doesn't fail for effort reasons generally. Most of the time, it fails for structural reasons. And there are three big ones. There are probably many more, but I'm going to give you three of them. And if you can get on top of these three, and I know you can, then you have a good chance of succeeding, even while those around you are collapsing and failing. All right. And if you get all these three, the odds are infinitely better. So here's reason number one. And this is a shitty one to start out with because we can't do anything about this one. Reason number one is waiting for January 1st. Now, I'm sorry about that I mentioned this now. I mean, you know, this falls under the heading of things you should have told us on December 28th, right? But very often people fail because they wait until January 1st, as if there's something about that new page that we turn that all of a sudden everything changes, as if we're not dragging our same sorry asses from last year into the new year. As if we could kind of like go crazy for the month of January and then suddenly turn it on like it's no problem on January 1st or 2nd. And the problem with that is that the waiting destroys momentum. The planning to fail builds up a failing habit. And that's what people do essentially. They plan to fail for the month of December and then pull it all together for the month of January. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be overcome. It just means you have to really understand momentum and you have to put in a little bit more of an effort. As opposed to some of my clients who started in December and now they have a ton of momentum coming into the new year. So there's no blame for that. You played it like you played it, right? But just know that when you have a lot of negative momentum, it does take more effort, more force to stop it and then to reverse it. Okay? Now, the general rule, if you want to change the negative momentum, is this: don't be incremental, be brutal. Like really draw a line in the sand. And here's how I coach people. And maybe for some of you it's extreme and maybe it's not. Many of you get it. I've had this conversation 1,000 times. And what I say to people is this: you choose whatever amount of time you feel that you can handle, right? Whether that's 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever that is for you, whatever that hump is. 7 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever that is for you, whatever that hump is. 7 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever that is for you, whatever that hump is. 7 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever that is for you, whatever that hump is. and you say to yourself, okay, if on the day after the interim I chose, I feel like it, then I'm going to have whatever I want to eat. But between now and then, I will die before I will cheat. That's the level of intensity I want you to have. Okay? Because when you go into it without that level of certainty, like no matter what, I'm going to be good at least for this small time period. If you don't even have that much, if you're questioning it from the beginning, if you're starting out at only 70% committed, then the beginning is the easiest time to fail, to stop. Because you always have tomorrow to start again. And that tomorrow, that starting again tomorrow disease can go on literally for years, right? Usually it's a Monday thing. But it can be a daily thing, especially when you're starting a program. So you prepare, you get all your stuff together, you get all your ducks in a row, and you say, no matter what. And here's the thing, generally, except for circumstances that are really beyond our control, some people travel for work and it can be very difficult. Some people are on medications, whatever. But in most cases, you can absolutely handle 3 or 5 days with great certainty. If I were to give you $1 million to be perfect for 3 days or 5 days, you would do it, right? So if you treat it like there's $1 million at stake, or like you'd rather die than cheat within that time period, then you should be fine. You should get over that hump and get some momentum going the other way. Does that make sense? All right, good. So by the time January 1st arrives, you do have negative momentum. Let's just acknowledge it and let's do what it takes to shift it. Let's move on to reason number two. Reason number two that people fail is that they don't have any real plan. Okay? There's something that I sometimes do in consultations. If I'm talking to a person in a consultation and we're talking about the program and they're asking me questions, everyone comes in, they have questions about the program. They want to see if it's feasible, if they could do it. Makes perfect sense, right? But if I see that they are on the edge, if they're like, yeah, I want to do it and whatever, I'm like, okay, here's the deal. This is what it's going to take. It's going to take you for however many number of days, it's going to take you completely cutting out carbs, completely cutting out sugar. There's no milk in your coffee. All right, you're going to be doing low calorie. You're going to be confined to one tiny glass of wine a week. You're going to have to prepare your own food. You're going to want to do organic. You might have to change personal care products. I will go through it and tell them exactly what it's going to take, what they're looking at, so they can estimate their effort. And this is a place where people get stuck. They don't estimate the effort that it's going to take, and so they're really not prepared for it. It's just like, okay, I'm going to start. Suddenly I'm going to be good. And there's no real plan. So you got to have a plan. Now, there are hierarchies. There are some plans that are clearly better than others. But here's the important point, is even the worst plan followed is better than the best plan not followed. So you have to be able and prepared to follow the plan. You have to create a plan, you have to have a plan, and you have to follow the plan. It's one of the reasons our plan works so well, because it is, in fact, a plan. It's super structured. You know exactly what to do. There's not this mystery. There's not all this stress. There aren't a lot of choices. Choices are not your friend, contrary to popular thinking, not in the context of a weight loss program, right? So you have to have a plan. You have to plan for your plan. And you have to know exactly what it's going to take. A real plan answers some specific questions, like, what am I doing? When am I doing it? What am I going to do if I don't feel like it? or if I face a tough circumstance. Like, who are these people that think that life is not going to life? See what I did there? I used it as a noun and I also used it as a verb in the same sentence. Right? Life is going to life. You can be assured of that. There will be inconveniences. There will be things that pop up. There will be tough circumstances. And so if you don't have that already as part of your plan at the beginning, then the chance of you succeeding are not very good. So do not include intention with strategy. A strong intention is great, you need it. But if you don't have a strategy, then you will likely fall on your behinds. Okay? And your plan cannot change every 3 days. All right? It can't be that flexible. Your plan is your plan, and you get to commit to it every day. Every single day, this is what I'm doing. You're not fighting it, right? You're accepting this plan. This is your plan. You own it. Now, I had another point to make about the plan, and I forgot it. So when it occurs to me, I will give it to you again. Okay? In the meantime, let's move on. Reason number 3, trying to do it alone. This is another reason why resolutions fail, because you have no structure, you have no support. Sometimes this can include actually going against the flow, going against structure, as in the case of having children who may not be on board with you, and you have to cook for them and buy their sweets that they want and all of that stuff. You want to have support. You want to get people on your team. The kind of support that I offer is expert support and guidance, and also I know about the emotional journey. But at the very least, have some friends with you. Get your family on board. This should be part of your plan. You know you're going to be going out in social situations. You know you have a friend group. They're the kind that will bust your. There are many words I can use there. I'm not going to. They're going to bust your chops, right? They are going to pressure you into doing what they do, because that will make them feel less guilty if you are out with them. And they're going to say you're not fun anymore. And if you tell them that you're on a diet, they're going to get critical about it, because it's going to like trigger all the things that they should be doing and all the times that they failed. And they'll have an opinion about it, regardless of whether you ask them what their opinion is or not. I've seen this. There's insanity that goes on, especially with the words diet and weight loss, right? Part of your plan should be you don't tell people, you don't use those words, right? You say I'm on a health plan from my doctor. I'm on a special eating plan from my doctor. He says I need to do this. This is very important. And then some people are like, oh, by all means, you know. And if they're not willing to be supportive, then you have to have a different conversation with them, right? But between your family, the people around you, and the people you like to socialize with, and those who might want to be a negative influence, you need to plan for that also, for the purpose of support. Support is structure. Support is uplift. Support is not sabotaging. So that is super important as well. You need that kind of a supportive structure, just like you need a plan, because plan is structure too. All right, do you see how this is all fitting together? Awesome. Okay, now be aware, and I think this is an important point, that if you don't have any outside support, or worse yet, you have negative support, that kind of isolation can turn small mistakes into quitting points. Don't let that happen. Don't let yourself be isolated. Don't go against the grain. Okay? So what we're outlining here are the three biggest reasons that people tend to fail when they set out to lose weight, which is the number one resolution that everyone has for a new year. There is nothing magical about that clean slate. We want to believe that it is. First of all, it's not a true clean slate. Some people are smarter about it, right? You know, in December, they'll do a bunch of cleaning and they'll take care of their taxes and they'll do this and that. And it's more of a clean slate. But more often than not, you're dragging a lot of crap from the previous year. Sometimes, you know, you go away or you stay home, but you're taking a mental vacation and then everything smacks you in the face anyway, the first week or two in January. Schedules are changing, you know, the weather's cold, you have 150 emails that you have to return, right? So all the more reason to have this set up. It's not the nirvana that we think it's going to be this new year. We expect it to be every single year, and it never is. So be aware of all of these things. These are potential failure points, and you know your best weapon against them is the awareness of it and is your will to handle it. It's not a bad idea to sit down and to write out any of the barriers that you might have to succeeding. The things that I'm saying here, other things that are specific to you, and then right next to it, write out 2 to 4 solutions, potential solutions, right? Just to get you into the mindset that there always is a solution, that you're not as disempowered as you might think, that you are in control. You do have choices. You can figure things out. You know, there's often a fear about being overwhelmed. Change is hard, but it could all be handled. And a simple exercise like that, like sitting down, writing out the challenges, writing out the possible solutions, that's a real good way to get those juices going, right? That in of itself is momentum, and that's power. All right? So again, resolutions don't fail because people are lazy or because people are bad. They fail because people wait instead of building momentum, because people don't understand momentum in the first place and that it matters. They fail because people rely on good intentions instead of actual structure, instead of a plan. They fail because people try to do it all by themselves without any support, as if there's any extra bonus points for doing it by yourself without any support. Now, if this has been your pattern, it doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means you're very human. And it means it's the system and not you. So that's where I want your focus, on the system. What can you do? All right, how can you tweak your system? And if you're rethinking how it could be different this year, how you're going to approach change, that's a really good sign if you're thinking of solutions. Again, I would put them down on paper. I would have them be an official structure. Okay? But if you can really work on and change the structure, change the system, the outcome usually follows from that. All right. So that's all I have for you today. If this landed for you, you're not behind. You are right on time because you needed to hear this. It's perfect, actually. Okay, good. That's going to be it. I will speak to many of you. I will see many of you. Anyone who needs help, please go ahead and reach out. And I'll talk to you next week.